What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and it's Top 10 Thursday. Sometimes there will be games that come along that are almost perfect. They have good stories, cool challenges, and some great action. But mixed in there are some mini games that are downright frustrating. Challenges that in the overall context don't even make sense. This week, I wanted to highlight stuff like that. Weird QTEs, side quests that are peculiar, and the weird things that stick in our mind for just being so out of place in their annoyance. These are my picks of the top 10 worst minigames. Number 10. Speechcraft. The entire Elder Scrolls series is legendary for a wide range of reasons, but I think that it all kind of comes down to just the simple fact that the studio behind it isn't afraid to try new things. Normally, I love this aspect about their development, but when it came to the Speechcraft in Elder Scrolls Oblivion, it was so clunky I was happy whenever I wasn't dealing with it. The goal is to fill up these meters by guessing which answer the target wants to hear by doing things like telling jokes, bribing someone, or making threats that will eventually make it so you win. And yet, by the time you get to move on, you don't even really feel satisfied. Number 9. Shock Torture. Let me start this entry by saying that I don't suck at button tap minigames, because I'm sure that's what a ton of people are going to try and put in the comments. My real issue is that this extended electrifying scene is something that you're required to beat perfectly to get the best ending. The problem with that is that it really has nothing to do with the rest of this amazing game. Metal Gear Solid is awesome for its sneaking, its creative bosses, and its brain-bending plot, but here I am just mashing buttons in a benign effort to try and make sure that the hero ends up succeeding. Number 8. Mahjong. Someone once described the board game chess as the Battle of Kings. Well, if that's true, then Mahjong is certainly the puzzle of lords and ladies as well, since it is so extremely complicated. Look, I don't really want to get into how this works because, frankly, there are 800-page books just trying to dig into all the different strategies of Mahjong itself. But let me try and dig into why this freaking minigame pisses me off. You see, the main reason the Yakuza fans just get so hung up about this weird minigame is that it feels so out of place of the rest of the game, but you have to do it if you want to complete the to-do list. You have to conquer tons of people across this minigame, which means that even if you don't like it, you're going to be learning every single rule of this crazy tough tile task, whether you like it or not. Number 7. Snowboarding. If you want to consider yourself a true Zelda god, you need to not only slay every foe and collect all the sword skills, but also find every single heart piece. These hidden items are tucked all around Hyrule and usually require some sort of small test to obtain. This is the way it's handled in each game in the franchise, but this single snowboarding section drives me nuts just for the fact that it is so unfair. Coming in first in this downhill race requires that you not only do every corner perfectly, but nail all the shortcuts flawlessly as well. I spent so many hours on this course until in the end I just wanted to quit. Number 6. Get a rope. Competing against friends and getting into trouble all across the Mario Party franchise are some of my favorite memories of being a young adult. Each title has such a different feeling to it that I loved, except for one tiny detail. In Mario Party, you're supposed to be traveling across the map, besting your foes at random minigames, which is great, but some are completely luck-based. Get a rope is literally just selecting a chord, pulling on it, and seeing if you live. There is no talent, no room for practice, or really even a point, which makes it 10 times more frustrating when you lose a round you badly needed to win. Number 5. Planet scanning. Good pacing can make or break any art form. Just as an example, one of my favorite movies of all time is called Man from Earth, and it's really just a few people sitting in a room talking to each other for an hour, but it keeps you invested by actually having a good speed that the story moves at. This is where Mass Effect 2 has a giant glaring flaw. While a majority of the game is spent flying around in space and shooting at universe-destroying aliens, you're also required to stop what you're doing occasionally and just scan planets. All you do is drop drones, see their readings, and shoot another probe, which is such a terrible way to break up the otherwise epic action. Number 4. Lawn mowing. Doing chores always sucks to some degree, and yet it's just part of what we have to do. What you probably aren't expecting is to sit down after a long day at work, turn on a fantastic open world adventure, and start doing drawn out tasks that are really lame even in real life. In Bully, you have to get a job to earn money, and this is needed to grab essentially every upgrade in the game. That means you need to find something that pays the most in the shortest amount of time, which unfortunately is mowing if you get good at it. You've probably noticed that while I'm talking, you're just watching somebody go in big circles over and over again, and this is it. It is so tedious and so detracting from the rest of the fun that every time I had to show up for work in the game, I would let out an audible moan that they even bothered to include this. Number 3. Hacking. There are two styles of bad minigame, optional and forced. Putting something dumb in an otherwise interesting project is one thing, but requiring me to figure this sloppy, overly messy thing out, well, that makes any situation a lot worse. Okay, let me try and dissect what you're seeing here. Basically, the goal is to try and match the moving and non-moving codes to create a pattern match. By shifting letters around, oh god, I really don't want to do this. It is just so freaking obscure and odd. Some people actually really enjoy hating on Alpha Protocol as a game overall, and I don't think that's fair. It is super good while a little bit weird, but this one aspect of it will forever just drive me insane, and it's probably caused thousands of gamers to straight up quit playing it forever. Number 2. Lightning dodges. For the ultra-hardcore RPG fans like me, we know that perhaps the most fun part of a game is doing all the side quests to obtain every character's ultimate weapon. It not only makes you kinda overpowered, but it shows that you fully finished everything. A majority of these unlockable side quests in Final Fantasy X are rather easy, except for this. To get Lulu the Mage's strongest item, you need to dodge 200 lightning bolts in a row. This is done by going to the Thunder Plains and waiting for the screen to flash and instantly tapping X to move the millisecond before it hits. If you mess up even a single time, the total counter resets. This takes so long and so nerve-wracking, it started to feel like I was in some bizarro world where, imagine if I was just trying to walk down the street and live a normal life, but every time I heard a car horn honk, someone was going to jump out and try and punch me in the face, and I'd have to dodge it. In the end, you are going to eventually make a mistake, and that is when you get knocked out. Number 1. Flight School. If I ever had to select a single series that I think that each one of the games is a unique masterpiece, I'd probably have to go with Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto, because not only are they all fun and cool, but they're very remarkable. But I do think that there is a small problem that each one of the games definitely tried to throw something really bizarre into the mix just to see how fans would react. In San Andreas, it basically boils down to the fact that I think that they were trying to really experiment with the idea of different flying systems. So what they decided to introduce was a flight school that in my opinion is one of the lowest points of the entire franchise. It is so brutally rough, it doesn't even make sense. You are having to learn how to fly a plane, a helicopter, skydive, everything back to back, but these courses are designed by the devil himself. There is zero room for error, interpretation, or really anything that you actually know and love love about the general controls of GTA. Before I end up just screaming about it, I'm going to try and chill out and realize that this is a game that overall is still so fantastic, as long as you just make it a point to never climb into the pilot's seat. And for that reason, I'm awarding this my pick as the best game with the absolute worst minigame. Did your most hated minigame not make the list? Got an idea for a future top 10? Leave it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. So this is a new camera I just got, and I'm still not used to it. One of the things you can do, actually, for the first time ever, is crazy zoom. So if you've ever wondered exactly what I look like, now you know. Subscribe. Oh, hey, I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad, and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.